Michael, where does Roc Partners sit within the private markets landscape?
Yeah, look, we run a number of strategies in private markets. So we're probably best known for what we do in private equity solutions. So really investing with a lot of other private equity managers around the world, focused on primary fund investments, co-investments and secondaries. But then beyond that, we also run a private debt capability and a real asset capability focused on agriculture and food.
And how do you think about blending these three areas or sectors within portfolios, and how advisors best use them in that way as well?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good question, and it's not dissimilar to what you do in listed markets where you have kind of traditional equities, traditional fixed income, maybe kind of real estate. Kind of each of these has a different role it plays in your portfolio. So private equity might be your high returning asset class kind of exposure, looking for outsized returns. Our real asset business is really about, kind of constant yield with some real asset appreciation over time based on inflation and GDP growth. And then within private debt, it's really about yield, so current yield that is consistent and stable in its nature.
And with a lot happening in the macro environment at the moment, how's Roc Partners looking at whether opportunities in deployment or timing of exits?
Yeah, so look, I think firstly on a timing of exits perspective, we really have seen a protracted kind of exit horizon for a lot of assets over the last 3 years. We think we're starting to see that turn, so the kind of rising equity market, kind of inflation now relatively under control and interest rates coming down around the world should see the exit activity in private markets generally kind of accelerate off what's been a pretty low base over 23 and 24. Looking at our investment opportunity set, we're being really selective around what we do at the moment. A lot of geopolitical risk around the world, still some kind of hesitancy around inflation, and the economy kind of locally and globally is a little bit too speed in areas. And so being really specific around individual opportunities, what we see as the growth prospects for those businesses, and then what the exit looks like for those is really important in terms of how we think about private markets investing in this current environment.
And how do you see areas like co-investing and secondaries playing a role in portfolios going forward?
Yeah, look, co-investments and secondaries are a really important part of private markets portfolios. It's another tool that you can use in terms of building a better overall portfolio and better customer experience for investors. The way we think about secondaries is a great way to kick off an investment program in private markets. Kind of pathway to liquidity is shorter, pathway to returns is shorter, and good transparency on what you're actually allocating capital to in terms of underlying company exposures. So a great way to kick off a program and get money to work in the asset class relatively quickly. Co-investments are a great way to defer fees, or defray fees. And so really as you're investing in primary funds, that will take time to mature and develop. The co-investments not only kind of reduce the cost of the asset class, but they can give you exposure to particular industries you're more excited about, and then also getting returns more quickly back to the investor. And so overall, we think that the combination of primary fund commitments, which is still a really important part of overall private equity programs, highest money multiple comes from your primary fund programs, combined with co-investments and secondary transactions are a really good way to blend a portfolio to create a good investor experience, particularly for those who are new to the asset class.
And what's one of the most common questions or misconceptions you get from advisors?
Yeah, I think that probably the biggest kind of misconception we get is that it's 10 years that I don't see any returns and I don't see any money back on our private equity, because everyone focuses on 10-year kind of life investments in liquid funds. The reality is you're getting money back relatively quickly on most private equity programs, and particularly those that are focused on secondaries and co-investments. You're generally seeing liquidity back within 3 to 4 years of making that initial investment. The way we build programs at Roc Partners is for every dollar that we kind of take in as investment, we want to give that dollar back within 5 years and really spend the next 5 years kind of harvesting the profits, so that over the course of the 10-year journey, we've delivered a 2 times money return, but we've done so in a way that's de-risked people on the way through rather than waiting the whole 10 years for that kind of $2 to come back to them.
Michael, thank you.
No, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.